What's going on, everyone? Honda Fit for Adventure here, and today we're going to be installing the Acuity Stage 1 shift kit on the Honda Fit. Now, Acuity already made an amazing video on how to install this with some close-up views that I can't beat. However, they installed theirs on a relatively new Honda Fit, while mine has at least 100,000 miles on it. So some things didn't go as easy as they showed in their video. Overall, the install was still relatively simple, where most of the time is probably going to be spent removing and reinstalling your factory airbox. That is, if you still have one. Before installing the Acuity Stage 1 shift kit, you'll first need to disconnect the negative terminal on your battery and remove the factory intake system. In my first video on YouTube, I removed the OEM airbox and replaced it with an AEM short ram intake, and then later on I replaced that with an HPS cold air intake. So if you need help to remove your factory airbox, I'll put the links to the removal videos in the description below. With the airbox removed and the battery disconnected, the next step was to remove the metal retainer clip or the C-clips from the shifter cables. I honestly didn't have any luck with this. I sprayed it with some penetrating liquid and tried to pry them up for about 30 minutes. After all that, I only got about this far. Instead of risking damaging the clips or something else, I decided to skip this step. I was still able to complete the installation without removing the metal C-clips. I'm assuming that if you remove the C-clips, you'll have a little more wiggle room to work with while popping out the bushings. With or without the C-clips removed, the next step is to remove the Codder pins that are holding the shift cables and bushings down into place.
Now, to prevent the loss of any small parts, cover up the workspace underneath the cables. Then...
Oh, well, I got it out, but it fell down. Good thing we got a new one with the pack. With the Codder pin removed, you can now slide the shifter cable up and off. Repeat the same steps for the other cable. There we go. Didn't lose this one. With both cables free, we can now remove the OEM bushings. To remove the bushings, insert a screwdriver into the hole, wiggle the screwdriver back and forth while applying some pressure, and pop the bushing out of place. It's a similar process to removing a bearing out of a skateboard wheel. Well, that was easy to get it out. The smaller bushing took a little more time to wiggle out. Bada bing, bada boom. Once both bushings have been removed, we can now install the new ones. Here's the OEM bushing. You can see there's a lip around the top end and a lip around the bottom end. When this is in the cable, that'll prevent it from sliding up or down. On the Acuity bushing, there's only a lip around the top side, so when we put this in, we're going to have to put this metal retainer clip around the bottom, and that'll prevent it from popping out. Oh, here's a good view. Inserting my bushings was not as easy as the Acuity video showed, but it wasn't a huge deal. They slid in fairly easy, but not all the way. I ended up getting a pair of pliers to squeeze them in the rest of the way. Surprisingly, I didn't scratch or mar the black anodized coating, so I'd say the quality of this product gets 5 stars. After the bushing has been correctly seated, it's now time to put the retainer clip on the back side of the bushing. If the bushing is not pressed all the way down, the seat for the retainer clip will not be exposed. To put the retainer clip on, start with the end of the almost circle clip and set it into the groove of the bushing. Hold the clip into the groove with one finger and slide another finger over the retainer clip and around the bushing for it to click into place. With the bushing secured into place, we can now put the shifter cable back into its spot and lock it into place with a new or old Codder pin. To install the other bushing, it's going to be the exact same process with a little less room to work with.
Oh, of course, you're just as difficult.
Insert the new bushing into the cable, apply a little bit of force if necessary, and place the retainer clip back onto the side of the bushing to secure it into place.
Ooh.
The smaller bushing retainer clip is slightly different than the larger one. The smaller clip creates more of a spiral and will seat itself around the bushing 1.5 times. This one took a little more effort to put on, but it wasn't a big deal.
Now, to prevent the loss of any small parts, cover up the workspace underneath the cables.
With the other bushing into place, it's time to slide it back onto the cable and lock it down with a Codder pin. Give it a quick shift through all the gears and make sure everything is working correctly. Honestly, at first it felt like I couldn't get it into 5th gear. I don't know if I was swinging the stick too far to the right and it wouldn't engage, but after some quick Googling, I read where it may feel like 3rd and 5th are closer together, but it should feel like normal once you're driving. The play in the shifter is now gone and the stick remains firmly into place. And the throws between the shifts seem to be much more solid. At this point, we can reinstall the OEM airbox if you still have one, reconnect the battery, and take the car for a test drive. At this point, I've had the bushings installed for about a week, and I could say that the shift engagement feels much more solid. And for the price and ease of installation, I can see why everyone would recommend this upgrade. You don't have to be a racer to like a smooth shift. Coming up next, we have the Acuity shifter base bushings, the hybrid racing short shifter, and well, you'll just have to subscribe to find out.
Back up once again, this is the solar panel car, the Honda Fit. He is a YouTube star, I understand. The Honda Fit for Adventure YouTube channel. Right-hand side,